Hi, hello everyone, happy Wednesday, yes it's Wednesday, and today I want to take the time to finally do something with air dry clay. I haven't done this in quite a while. I was sort of anxious about like the quality of the clay. I opened it about, I think, a couple of months ago, and it is in this tiny little box, but I was not quite sure if it would, you know, keep it sort of. So I've been wanting to do something with air dry clay for quite some time, and I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do. Probably a little plate and something else, but we'll see how much time I have and how long it takes to actually make it. And I already have quite a few ideas for the painting afterwards. I think it's going to be something sort of monochromatic, maybe sort of in all sorts of shades of blue. I was thinking of doing a little something for the bathroom, but we shall see what will come out of it, so I hope you enjoy that. Hello everyone, nice of me here. I just want to give you some insight into my creative process, which is rather messy, as you can tell from the footage, and I am by no means an expert in pottery or anything, but I really just wanted to create something three-dimensional for a change. Don't get me wrong, I love painting and drawing, but there's something about needing air dry clay and seeing it become a distinct shape that is very satisfying in my opinion. I didn't want to get trapped in the usual perfectionism again by researching different techniques or methods. I just wanted to get started and not think too much or worry about the process all the time, so that's what I did. Okay, so the first one is done, but I'm not quite sure what it's going to be, honestly. I think it's just to get us started, but when I paint it, it may look like something. We shall see. And next I want to try to do a little cup or something, which would be probably more useful than this sort of plate thing that I just did. We shall see. It's also the reason though that it took me quite some time to figure out how to shape the little plate and the little container, but I tried to be as inventive with my methods as I could. As you can see, I'm just using whatever I had at hand. I don't own any sort of fancy equipment for pottery. And in the end, I actually rather liked how the rim of the container turned out slightly wavy. And the whole process also reminded me that I need to be more patient with myself and trust the creative process. Before I could go on with painting my little plate and container, I had to wait for it to dry, which took a long time because the layers were rather thick and I had used so much water to smooth the surfaces, which were still a little bumpy, but well. So I decided to take my own advice. I talked about this in another video. There's a link in the description box down below if you want to check that out. Which basically was to get inspiration from the art books that I have at home and to find patterns to draw on my pottery later. If you follow me on my Instagram, you'll know that I love to paint and draw flowers, which is what I went for in this case. Again, it will never get boring to me for sure. And I knew I wanted something ornamental but not too overwhelming, which is why I chose to have a monochromatic colour palette. I think blue is just such a nice colour and not too harsh against the white background. And I also had the Delft pottery in my mind, which I've seen in the Netherlands a couple of years ago. It's truly beautiful. If you ever have the occasion to go there and see it for yourself, I really highly encourage you to do so. Hello everyone, happy Wednesday again. It's been a week since I finished my little clay plates and clay sort of, well, little container, which I really like to call it. And first of all I'm going to sand it because it was not very I was not patient enough, let's be honest, to really smooth the surface out, and I'm going to use some sanding paper to smooth it out, and then I'm going to paint it, and I'm very excited for that. I hope the results will be what I hope them to be, and let's see what I can do with these little things that I made. So the last step before painting my pottery was to further smooth the surface with sanding paper because it was still a little bumpy after drying, and I decided to wear masks so that I wouldn't breathe in all the dust that was swirling in the air. And then I could finally paint my pottery. I painted them with acrylic paint so that I would be able to varnish it with acrylic lacquer later. And as you can see, I decided to mix the white paint with a tiny little bits of brown paint so that I could get a sort of off-white-ish colour that would not be as harsh and cold, if you know what I mean. Even though I had smoothed the surface as best as I could, it was still rather difficult to paint on it, and I kept thinking, oh no, this looks horrible, oh my god, this is going to be, you know, I was just thinking all of these thoughts, and I was really not happy about my painting process, which honestly really happens to me a lot of the time. But then I remind myself that most of the time things turn out just fine, and when you see the whole result, you know, as a whole, it just is so much better than you thought it would be in the beginning. And I have to say that I really enjoyed the whole process, and it was a nice change from the usual creative activities that I pursue during my free time. And of course they are not perfect, but I made them with my own hands, and I'm rather proud of that. So I highly encourage you to do so too. Try something new for a change, even if it scares you a little bit. Just go for it and see how you like it before dismissing it. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you could get inspiration from it, and I'll see you soon. Bye!